typically our broadcasts, I jump right into a couple of stories. We do a little promo for different things, this or that, jump into the conversation. But I want to discuss something first. And it's something that has been on my heart, on the hearts of us here at VIDA News, and that is this idea about the right to life. And so I think that before we jump all the way into it, let's back up just a little bit. Here at VIDA News, we are focused on tobacco harm reduction. It's right at the core of everything that we do. You don't have to go far. You can go right to our website and you see right on the banner, it says that we believe that the misinformation around tobacco harm reduction costs lives. And it's our mission to try to fix that. And, you know, honestly, a lot of people have asked me, like, what exactly is tobacco harm reduction? What is this THR thing, these THR updates? What is it that you are doing? Well, a simple definition, you might know this, but if you don't, here you go. A simple definition for tobacco harm reduction is medical providers providing patients with alternative options to be able to get nicotine, to be able to have that reduces the risks that are associated with smoking. We know that if you smoke, that leads to cancer. So if you still want to be able to have that, you know, get the nicotine without the cancer, then there's tobacco harm reduction. There's these products, the different replacement therapies, the ways that people can be able to do that. Now, some people diverge from that. Obviously, that's right at the heart of what we do, that misinformation of people believing that you should just stop doing it, that prohibition or you know, abstinence, that's the only way to do it. But today's program really isn't specifically about that. Now, while the concept of tobacco harm reduction, that dates back to around the mid-1970s, it wasn't until like 2008 that, you know, medical journals here in the United States and around the world really started to accept that. But if you think about tobacco harm reduction, you can actually take away the word tobacco. And tobacco harm reduction is part of a bigger picture. And that bigger picture includes just overall harm reduction. And so overall harm reduction, historically, you know, it's associated with things like drug use, or, you know, harm reduction was a big thing that helped us curb the rise of HIV and AIDS all around the world. You know, basically it's public health policy that helps reduce the risks of otherwise risky behavior, both legal and illegal. An easy way to think about it is a seatbelt, right? If you're driving in a car, there are dangers, there are risks associated with driving in a car. If you crash into something, you can go through the windshield, you lose your life. But there was a harm reduction method called a seatbelt that was invented. It reduces the risk of being able to drive. Now, does it take away all the risk? No. If you hit something, if you've been in a car accident, you know you're going to have a big old bruise. An airbag is not a fun thing to hit your face, but this is something that reduces the harm. Now, harm reduction, obviously, it's brought up, and there's a lot of moral divergence here, right? Like, some people think that you should just stop, but science has proven that harm reduction methods, they work. Now, harm reduction is also part of a bigger picture. Harm reduction is a part of this bigger idea about health rights and the right to health. You've heard us say this on this program, and you've probably heard that before. I'm going to quote the Harm Reduction International, okay? Harm Reduction International says that human rights, health rights, apply to everyone. People who use these products do not forfeit their human rights, including the right to the highest attainable standard of health, social services, work, benefit from scientific programs, freedom to not have arbitrary detention based on the things that they use, freedom from cruel and inhumane and degrading treatment. Harm reduction opposes these hurts. And that's part of the right to health. Now, when you hear the right to health, this also requires a little bit of a history lesson. So just go with me here, okay? World War II. After World War II, the United Nations got together and they saw the horrible atrocities, the life that was lost, not just on the battlefield, but as we all know, the tremendous life that was lost outside of that as well. People being persecuted for just who they are, how they were born, their religion, their race, their gender. This happened. And the United Nations said we need to set a guideline that is not okay. And so there was 9 people that came together. There's 9 people that came together and they created something called the UDHR, or the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. Basically, it is 30 articles, each one of them affirming an individual's rights. Now, Article 1 says that these people deserve to people in general, everybody deserves to have these rights. Article 2 states that you get to have these rights, no discrimination. It doesn't matter your religion, it doesn't matter your race, it doesn't matter your gender, it doesn't matter where you're born, it doesn't matter what country you're from, where you're a citizen of. You deserve this. And now, this important thing that I would like to point out here is article number 25. Article number 25 of that is the right to health. And I'm going to quote this exactly because I want all of us to really pay attention to this. Everyone has the right to a standard of living adequate for the health and well-being of themselves and their family, including food, housing, clothing, medical care, social services, the rights to security, in event of unemployment, sick, disability, old age. Basically, it's saying you have that right to health. Now, we talked about the right to health a couple of weeks ago when we discussed the story of Ray Yates, that he has a right to oxygen in his oxygen tank that is governmentally provided. It doesn't matter that he actually decides to use tobacco. He has a right to that. That's laid out here in the Universal Declaration of Health. Now, another thing that is a part of that Universal Declaration of Health, okay, that is Article 3. And Article 3 states that you have the right to life. That's saying that every person that is born on this planet, it doesn't matter where you were born. It could be here in the United States. It could be in Britain. It could be in India, in China, in South Africa, in Antarctica. It doesn't matter. You have the right to life. And I've been thinking about that a lot because of, honestly, what has happened in the last 10 days. You may have seen the video. We are not going to show the video here. But on Tuesday, May 27th, in Minneapolis, Minnesota, George Floyd, who is a 45-year-old father, was murdered when Derek Chauvin, a police officer of the Minnesota Police Department, pressed his knee into Floyd's neck for nearly 9 minutes. He was handcuffed face down in the street, and he was pronounced dead on his way to the hospital. This is not the first time, and it's not the last time that a Black man in America was murdered by the police. And this is the consequence of a racist and prejudiced system and culture that has treated Black bodies in America as less than. What happened to him is a part of a systematic and institutionalized system that goes a long way back. It goes a long way back to the foundation of this country, of the United States of America, where I am speaking to you from right now. Some of the names we know, names like Ahmaud Arbery and Breonna Taylor, Oscar Grant, Trayvon Martin, Michael Brown, Martin Luther King, Emmett Till, Eric Gardner. And it is important because of all of this that we at VIDA News make a very, very clear statement. Black lives matter. Systematic and institutionalized racism it's a defining moment. This civil rights, this social justice, it's defining of our time. And we have come to understand here at VIDA News, and myself personally, we have come to understand that being silent about this violence and about these threats, well, being silent is to be complicit. It's to be complicit in that violence, to be complicit in those threats. And it's unfortunate that it has taken as long as it has, but we are saying that statement, Black Lives Matter. And I want to be very clear, and I think that it's important to be very clear. That is not a political statement. There are people that are in power that have benefited off of this system that want to weaponize that word, that want to change those words. There are people that say, but all lives matter, or blue lives matter. And we at VIDA News believe that, yes, all lives matter, but all lives don't matter until Black lives matter. And it is important to talk about that right now. Here's the fact is, the reason that I wanted to start with tobacco harm reduction is because if that is the mission that you care about, and you believe that you have the right to these products, that you have that right to health, then all of those other things are true too. If you believe that you have that right to life, then everybody has that right to life. You do not get to just pick and choose. And so it's important to say that if you believe that you have that right to life, everyone does. And here's the realness, right? Like I have not been perfect. We at VIDA News have not been perfect. If you're watching this, you may feel like you haven't been perfect, because that's just kind of the truth. But just stopping there is not okay. A lot of people have realized that they haven't been perfect. But the key is to learn, to listen, to educate yourself, and to make different choices. We ask people to do that all the time in this tobacco harm reduction fight, don't we? We ask them, hey, here's the information. You think that these products are unhealthy? Well, guess what? There's information showing you that they actually are proven to be much healthier than this other thing, like to orders of magnitude, like 95%. And we hope that they will change their mind. We hope that people will take that new information and they will move forward with the new information. We all have that opportunity to do that right now. That is what I am doing. It starts with listening. It starts with hearing what people's stories are. It starts with being able to take that information and, instead of retreating into your old beliefs, to move forward, to say that you're going to do better and to do better. And I want to be very clear, this doesn't mean that you should reach out to the people that you know that might be Black and to say like, all right, what can I do? Or please explain this to me. Those resources are out there. All right, we will link some of them in the blog post where this video is going to be. So trust that like you can go and find those things. The key though is to educate yourself, to focus on educating yourself, and to stand up. We are standing up here, and I encourage you to do the same. These things are connected. We are all connected. We all deserve that right to life. And it's important that we focus on that. So we wanted to be able to say that here. We are going to do our best, and we are very much open to listening. This is the beginning of a conversation. This is the beginning of a conversation that starts here where we are broadcasting from in the United States, and it continues because these institutionalized systems, these systems of power, these abuses of people's right to life, the right to health, it happens all the time, and it especially happens as we're talking here with tobacco harm reduction. It is important for us to keep this focus right here with what I'm saying, right here. This violence that is happening, it is abhorrent, and we are going to do our best to help elevate those voices, to raise those stories, to listen and to amplify. And if you have a platform that's anything, I urge you to do the same.